Hello, this is Danny Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide. Recently, I did a video about the substantial evolution that Pyro has gone through since we were first given details about it, during which I said it was going to have to revisit a set of videos from nearly 2 years ago where I talked about the Pyro player, the Pyro org, the Pyro fleet, etc. And while developing this script, I learned that even the definition of what a Pyro player has changed. 2 years ago, I described the Pyro player as someone who would make the trip to Pyro along with everybody else at the start of 4.0 and rarely, if ever, go back. But with so many more stations and support being added to Pyro, there was another possibility. So at a Bar Citizen last week, I saw a CIG dev who was immediately recognizable from their multiple appearances on ISC and SCL. So I asked them this. Will it be possible for players, experienced or new, to choose a location in Pyro as their home city at the start? And the answer was yes. He further clarified that he was unaware of any actual decision regarding starting locations in 4.0, nor was he aware of any specific discussions going on about it. But yes, the capability of having your home city in Pyro was there. I took this to mean that in the internal builds of 4.0 that they were using, the drop-down for planets indeed had both Stanton and Pyro, and that selecting Pyro would give a selection of locations to start your home city in Pyro. But in order for that, it means that the major locations in Pyro are capable of handling all of the things that we associate with a home city in Stanton, such as fully persistent personal hangars and the ability to heal Tier 1 injuries. So the new, simpler definition of a Pyro player is someone who has selected Pyro for their home city. So, item 1, is this a good idea? And item 2, the original question of who should consider being a Pyro player rather than just an occasional visitor, and why. As to whether this is a good idea, my opinion is actually it is both a fantastic idea and a terrible idea. Let's start with the fantastic idea. If you accept that Pyro is now something of a mirror universe of Stanton, but dangerous and grunge, it makes sense for experienced players who want this as their main game experience to be able to have it right away. It prevents a complete traffic jam at the jump point at the start of the game and gives an immediate division of server load between Stanton and Pyro, rather than having it develop as players migrate. But, and you knew there would be a but, there is a different group of players. When the announcement is made that they are now live, a doubling of the playable area and new game capability, a lot of new players will be arriving. These can be divided between new noobs who have just gotten their starter package and old noobs who have been taking an extended sabbatical from the game and know nothing about things like master modes, new key bindings, new frame mechanics, new UI elements, etc. And in some respects, the old noobs are a bigger issue because new noobs know that they are noobs, but old noobs think that they are not. And of course, they are going to be drawn to Pyro because it was the headline story that brought them in. But putting brand new players with their starter ships in an environment like Pyro is like putting a bunch of baby seals on a beach surrounded by baby seal clubbers. And whatever you think of that kind of game situation, you can agree that it ain't fun for the baby seals. And it is in everybody's best interest that the new players stick around and become continuing customers. Being relentlessly clubbed like a baby seal isn't it. But if you make substantial areas of Pyro safe enough for these metaphorical baby seals, well, then it really isn't the Pyro that we've been expecting for so long. Now, you could say that just put up a big warning about picking Pyro as a planet, except that new players have no experience basis to go by in evaluating that warning. And to make matters worse, if you regret the choice of your starting city, there's no practical way to change it, ever. So this is a subject worthy of debate and input by the player base. But my point of view is that there has to be a minimum experience level in order to have that list of starting planets include Pyro. My gut feel is that an appropriate level would be 20 hours of playtime in 2.23 or later. Now, none of this would prevent any new player from starting in Stanton and then immediately flying to the jump point, as the trip to the jump point itself would be something of a shakedown cruise. Also, in this case, if the visit to Pyro turns out to be ill-advised, then it is not a permanent mistake as if they put their home city there. So, on to item 2. Presuming that you meet any prerequisites to be able to pick Pyro as your home city, should you? And I'm going to start with the main thought about picking a home city in Stanton. Where are your friends? Because if you think it takes a long time to bring together a group now, consider how much longer it's going to be to bring a group together, including traversing 2-star systems and a jump tunnel. Beyond that, though, there are a number of things. First of all, you have to care about local power groups, something which in Stanton was background at best. In Pyro, over time, we have seen a number of various gangs in lore, but the latest information from CIG is that there are essentially 4 that will be there on the first release. The first are the good old troublemakers of Xenothreat, who everybody apparently hates. It serves a good purpose to have a universal villain group in a game. No mention has been made of being able to join Xenothreat. Then there is Rough and Ready, who run the resupply bases, which apparently everybody needs, so everybody tolerates. It would also seem plausible that Rough and Ready will be a main source of delivery and hauling contracts. I am suspecting that the places that we will be allowed to make our home city in Pyro will be the ones run by Rough and Ready, since losing access to your home city because your rep has changed would be a problem. This doesn't mean that you can't get on Rough and Ready's bad side, but I wouldn't recommend it, as it could mean being hostile in your home city. And then you have 2 sides that you're expected to have to choose between, since positive reputation in the one directly results in negative with the other. These 2 groups are Citizens for Pyro and Headhunters. Judging from their names, it would seem like CFP are folks who want to be focused on what is best for all of Pyro and advancing it, and the Headhunters are for what is best for them. As to all those other gangs we saw teased, I suspect that they will still happen someday, but CIG wants to work out the system with just these 4 gangs before expanding the relationship matrix. But it does mean this: if you want to play together with your org or group of friends, you will likely want to jointly discuss whether CFP or the Headhunters are the side you will choose, because you won't be able to do both. It will be twice as hard putting together a team if half of your players are ineligible. Now, we know that getting a certain reputation with one of these factions will result in opportunities and access being made available to you. But there are 2 other big questions that CIG hasn't answered yet. The first is that if I get a high enough reputation with, say, the Headhunters, will someone else lose Headhunter reputation by attacking me? That may put a damper on some of those expecting Pyro to be completely wide open PvP. Another big question is, if I get enough negative reputation with the Headhunters, is there anything that they will do? What is their equivalent of Klesher Prison? My best guess, considering everything else, will be a system of kidnapping and holding for ransom. And instead of breakouts like Klesher, you have your friends be able to raid and jailbreak you. Which brings up 2 metas for Pyro. Expect more need for cooperation to survive, and more chaos in general. Someone who makes Pyro their home city can expect to have to plan your logistics more carefully. Yes, there are now a handful of places where you can get refueled and resupplied at, but Pyro is so much bigger than Stanton. Ships with longer range fuel tanks will be much more flexible. There is also a chance that owning a Starfare will finally be actually useful, but only being in Pyro will confirm that. Expect supplies of weapons, ammunition, etc. to be far more limited in Pyro, but be able to buy rare and unique items that are not generally found in stores in Stanton, like kit-bashed weapons and stolen, regulated, and prohibited items. Just expect life to be on the edge. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the things taken for granted in Stanton are among the most uniquely valuable things in trade. So, for example, in a world surviving on rats on a stick and duck grubs, a bottle of Cruise Lux might be a delicacy. Pyro, in short, is a system for those who subscribe to this.
Bleeding. Space is disease and danger wrapped in darkness and silence.
And now for an update on our ship giveaways. To start with, we have a special membership level to cover costs of doing live coverage at CitizenCon with its own giveaway for all see, the colossal cargo container carrying craft. And with Manchester less than a month away, your opportunity to get in on this giveaway is closing fast. Plus, we have our regular Grow the Channel ship giveaway for the Zippy Zazzy Zaftig Zephyr, the Zeus 2 cargo, which we are just waiting for the subscriber goal, and for which CIG has said that they are hoping to have in Evocati's hands as soon as this week. So expect this to be in game real soon now, as well as further on, the marvelous multiplayer multi-role mining meta, the Erasta. 1 entry per video. Be a member for automatic entry with each video, or subscribe and comment, some including the secret word. And the secret word for this video is your own opinion on what, if anything, should be the criteria for being able to set your home city in Pyro. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Danny Raymond for Ray's Guide.